In this video, we are going to do an overview of one of the most recognizable designs among the unseen, as well as a mech that has acted as the mount for a multitude of famous mercenary commanders. Named aptly for its long-range abilities, today we're going to talk about another one of Earthworks Incorporated's classics, the Archer. A heavy mech weighing in at 70 tons, this venerable design first debuted as a prototype in 2458, though its primary production model would begin walking off the assembly line at Earthworks in 2474. This does make the Archer one of the elders among the still-produced Battlemech designs, and it's not hard to see why. Built on a simple principle, which is that they wanted a Battlemech to deliver a large volume of long-range missiles, it's very hard to need to redesign this model from the ground up, sometimes even with new technologies. Adopted by the SLDF during the Star League era, the ARC series would serve them well, even getting an upgrade for Royal Unit variants. After the fall of the Star League, however, it would be constructed throughout the Succession Wars by a multitude of companies, including the original Earthworks Incorporated. From the time of its original production, all the way through to the end of the first Succession Wars, it's thought that there were over 100,000 of these heavies that had been built. Fielded by every major house, and desired by mercenary units and even pirates, it has earned a reputation from every organization that has adopted it of being a strong, reliable mech for trading long-range fire and for giving indirect and direct fire support. It would even acquire a reputation as it being a valuable command mech, as famous mercenary operators and commanders like Jamie Wolfe of the Wolf Dragoons, Cranston Snord of the Snords Irregulars, and Morgan Kell, one of the Kellhound's founders, all fielded this machine as their personal mounts during battle. Though not without its weaknesses, this design is loved by Mechwarriors who have piloted it, and is one of the most noteworthy machines in the history of Battletech. The ARC-2R is the main production line version of the Archer, starting from 2474 all the way through to the discovery of the Helm memory core. It is powered by a VOX 280 standard engine, giving it a maximum speed of 65.6 km per hour, or 6 movement points in the tabletop game. This is the average speed of strategic operations of large formations or medium and heavies during the Succession Wars, and it is a great boon which it possesses this mobility. For tactical battles, this is the standard speed of almost all of its peers, meaning that it is not particularly disadvantaged for its weight moving at this speed. In terms of heat sinks, it displays one of the Archer's few weaknesses, as it is poorly supported by having only 10 stock heat sinks, meaning if it fires both of its primary weapons, it will actually begin to overheat, though not significantly so. Worse yet, should it fire these weapons as well as its secondary systems, it will begin to experience significant heat problems that will hinder the mech's abilities. Temperance and heat cycling are necessary for an ARC-2R, lest it potentially destroy itself. Where the Archer shines is being one of the hardest hitting indirect and direct fire mechs in the original TRO 3025, with a pair of Doombud long-range missile 20 racks being the central focus on the mech, with one being mounted in the right and left torso respectively. Each of these launchers has 2 tons of ammunition as well, making it supplied enough for engagements provided it conserves ammunition and doesn't take shots with little opportunity of success. For backup, the ARC-2R has 4 diverse optics Type 18 medium lasers, with 2 mounted in the rear and 1 mounted in each of its arms. These are little deterrent for a dedicated close-range mech though, but it does offer the ARC-2R some ability to defend itself from light mechs and worn-down mediums and heavies, though it must be ever concerned about its heat values. The last thing to look over is protection, which is something the Archer for a 70-ton heavy mech has in abundance. Fortuitously given 13 tons of standard armor, the Archer is tied for the second most armored heavy mech of TRO 3025, which it shares with the Grasshopper, and is only outdone by General Alexander Kerensky's weapon of choice, the Orion. With a long-range killing ability that exceeds the catapult and is able to weather the storm of incoming fire, the Archer is one of the greats of 3025. Armored, but able to keep up with their troops, and able to provide indirect fire support to them at range in the heat of battle, the Archer is more than a long-range support mech. It evolved into a command mech as well. There is a reason why it appears to be the chariot of choice for so many leaders of mercenary commands. The story of the ARC doesn't end here, however, as with time, there would be a series of refits with new production lines for this model. We'll be covering several of them here. The Archer has a plethora of variants during the Star League and Succession Wars, with most trying to upgrade its close-range ability. This does, for the most part, seem like a flawed approach, as it often comes at the expense of the Archer's real promise, which is being a long-range attacker. The ARC-2K, for instance, and the ARC-2S both reduce the LRM-20 systems on board to LRM-15s. In the case of the 2K, it does this to add twin large lasers and 2 heatsinks, making it run hotter than the Archer already did. In the case of the 2S, it adds a pair of SRM-4 launchers, which is fine, but defeats the purpose behind the ARC on the field to begin with, as it now fires 30 LRMs instead of 40, and also adds more ammunition to the chassis. This is just my observation of these models, however. Overall, as most of you can tell, I find both these variants wanting personally. The 2K may have better backup weapons, but it's too hot to reliably use them. The 2S has short-range weapons, but not enough to be truly helpful, at least in my view. The ARC-4M would appear in 3049 as the first Star League upgrade package for the Archer in the Inner Sphere since the ARC-2RB, which prior had been utilized by Royal units of the SLDF. It comes with endo steel, saving weight on internal structure, as well as slightly more armor, and most importantly, 10 double heatsinks, removing its heat issues. For its LRM launchers, it receives the beneficial Artemis fire control system, as well as a case for protecting its ammunition. This model is incredibly similar to the 2RB, though not purely identical. Though it doesn't add much to the ARC series, it does remove its primary weakness, which as mentioned prior was the poor heat management, making it frankly improved significantly by this alone. A solid upgrade package for its time, it would be exported to the Federated Suns, Lyran Commonwealth, and Draconis Combine to do battle with the clans during the clan invasion by the Free Worlds League. The final variant we'll be talking about today is one of the Dark Age models, namely the ARC-9KC, which was a product of the Draconis Combine and an evolution of their ARC-9K. It would replace out its original LRM launchers. The ARC is known for 4 MML5 launchers, letting it launch SRMs or LRM attacks from these systems, reducing its long-range firepower but making the ARC a better all-rounder. It would also add 2 light PPCs for long-range fire, as well as a C3 boosted slave, and finally an ER medium laser. To be able to fire all of these weapons, it has a total of 13 double heatsinks, giving it 26 sinking ability overall. This particular model is very dangerous at any range, but it does lack the dedicated position of being a clear support mech, as it lacks true long-range attack value to make it a true support mech due to the reduction of its missile capacity at long distances. The Archer series has been in service for approaching 700 years, as of the Ill Clan era. It has remained this long, much like its stablemate the Thunderbolt, because it simply does its intended task very well, and replacements or competitors have been unable to unseat it. While the catapult may be a very capable design, it in fact is one of the reasons why the ARC-2S and 2K seem so lackluster even, but it doesn't hope to supplant the 2R or other peer models, because it just does not have the ability to unleash that much hell at long range. As time passes and heat issues are resolved, the ARC becomes yet more popular, further entrenching itself into warfare as it has done in the Inner Sphere for an extended period of time. Countless numbers have been built of this machine, each one being a part of every warlord of note's arsenal. Never perfect, but never so flawed as to be discarded. The Archer's time in the Inner Sphere seems timeless. Because it is. Thank you for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. There's also a YouTube member program to support this channel as well, and I appreciate the support from members immensely by allowing these programs to be possible. With that, I will catch all of you in the comment section below.